I've thought I'd experienced everything in life that God had thrown at me, but I'd come fighting at the other end. This was a different type of pain that I felt like I'd been wounded, and I still feel it.
Hello and welcome to the Go Encourage podcast, where I talk to real people about real life, trying to gain some insight into their experiences building courage. In today's episode, I'm joined by Sidhu, who is a DJ, a music producer, he's a husband, and he's also someone who works in the mental health space, helping people get back up on their feet and into employment. I think it's a really interesting thing to share with you guys that today is International Men's Day. And so this wasn't planned. It's just a happy coincidence that we're going to be talking about men's mental health and to see where Sunny goes with the conversation and what he wants to share today. So let's get started. So I'm in the studio today with Sidhu. Welcome to Go Encourage. Really pleased that you're with us today.
Yeah, do you know what? We've been talking a lot about this. Trying to get a date in the diary, and do you know what? I'm pleased that we finally got that date.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. I'm excited. Let's see where we go. The first thing I want to ask you is, what does your name mean?
To me and those that know me, happy-go-lucky Sunny. I'm Ray of Sunshine.
I looked up your name as well, and it means pleasant, easygoing, responsible nature. And then my favorite part was winner.
Yeah, I'm very competitive.
Yeah, I've seen your competitive side actually.
Yeah. That's accurate. It describes me well.
So tell us where you're from originally. Where were you born? What's your background, heritage?
So born in the UK, West London.
West London.
Hounslow, yeah.
Nice.
I'm an Hounslow boy, Hounslow West, should I say.
Hounslow West.
I grew up around there, around that neighborhood. My early childhoods was, as soon as those street lights come on, you go inside.
It's time to go home. Yeah. All the other neighbors, they're like, you need to go home now, I'm going to tell your mum.
Yep, up and down on the BMXs.
Yeah.
Playing Knock Down Ginger.
I used to have a grifter back. I grew up in Southall, so down the road.
Okay.
And the grifter, do you remember the grifter bike?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Diamondback bikes?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, with the trick nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. You know what? It's funny. Life's changed. So I grew up around Hounslow West until I was about 6, 7, and then we moved to North London.
Right.
Me and my mum. Mum and dad. My mum walked out on my dad. I wasn't never raised as a 2.4 perfect family around me. I've never had that. In the Punjabi community, alcohol's a big thing.
Right.
So my dad was a big drinker.
Okay.
As much as I have great memories as a child, I also have those memories that sit with me that, I remember the arguing, the fighting at night. And it was a mixed emotions to see that as a young child.
Sure. How old did you say you were?
I was about 7.
About 7
years old, yeah. Seeing the shouting, the late nights, my mum and dad downstairs arguing. And one Christmas day, enough was enough for my mum. We were having dinner, argument broke out. And my mum was like, enough's enough. She went upstairs, packed a couple of bags, and then she took me and we walked out.
Wow, Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day. And it's funny because, they say, oh, children don't pick up on anything young. It's the quite opposite. There's memories that I have that still sit with me that I remember clearly, walking up the street late at night, waiting for my mum's friend to come pick me up and going back to hers.
Wow.
It was a challenging time, I'm not afraid to talk about it. It's made me the man I am today.
Yeah.
but yeah, you know, at a young age, you pick up on things that you will stay with you for life.
Yeah, I totally believe that as well. Yeah. And it's how you respond to those things, isn't it, as you grow?
Absolutely. You know, I had to grow up quick. I had no option. You know, we stayed at my mum's friend's house for a couple of days, and then we moved over to a woman's refuge.
Oh wow!
In North London.
Right.
And then I ended up finishing my high school years off in South Ruislip.
Okay. Yeah.
From there, went to high school. Typical lad in the high school. My mum playing both roles. The late nights coming home. I remember, you know, my mum sitting there and trying to be strict. Yeah, it was a tough time. You know, there's a lot of things that I'm willing to share, because I think talking about them in the Punjabi community as a man, it's forbidden.
Yeah, it's not something that's encouraged, is it?
No. People think talking about them it makes you weak. It's how the Punjabi community, unfortunately, is.
Yeah.
I left school, got my GCSEs. My mum was doing 14 hours a day, trying to give me the best of both worlds. I got my GCSEs. I went to college. Lasted 2 weeks.
Lasted 2 weeks. What did you sign up for at college?
Typical business studies.
Business studies, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Working at my first job was working at Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut. Yeah.
Yep. Making pizzas. And then moving up to, you know,
was that quite fun as a youngster?
It was. Do you know what? It was. The free pizzas were good. Seeing how, you know, you make the pizzas and the things, the attitude you get from people. It was interesting. Right. Let's just say it wasn't a Pizza Hut brand, but I worked for a pizza place.
Okay.
Right. And let's just say if I bought a pizza from there, I made sure I made it with my own hands.
Right.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to some of those themes because I think they're really important. But moving forward from there, was there something at that young age that you had in your mind? Oh, look, I finished college. This is the career path I want to take.
I wanted to be an architect.
An architect?
Yeah. I wanted to design. I was great at design tech in high school. You know, I loved buildings. I believed that it brought out your personality. I was a big character at school. Right. Personality wise, you know, it was something that was a dream of mine. It's something I thought, you know, I'll leave a legacy behind. You know, whether I'm here or not, if a building's standing, they know the history behind it.
Yeah.
I was, you know, due to what life threw at me, I didn't have the opportunity to do that. I had to go straight to work. You know, I had to put food on the table. I had to help my mum put a roof over our head.
Yeah, sure.
As a single divorced parent from the Punjabi community, you know, a lot of people step back from my mum. Families.
Yeah.
It was, you know, no, you need to go back. This can't happen. And, you know, based on what my mum had said and what was happening at the time, it was like, no, these things happen.
I've seen it.
These things happen.
Yeah.
It's part of marriage. Mum stuck to her guns. No, it's not. It's not right. It's not what I want my child to be raised in.
It sounded like she had standards.
Yeah.
She had boundaries, which is important.
And it was just, she was, you know, left to her own devices. No family around us. I remember we were in temporary accommodation in South Ruislip, so it wasn't something permanent. 2-bedroom masonette, and my mum was doing 14 hours a day at the airport. Coming home, you know, she used to leave in the mornings, and I never used to see her until late evenings, just so she could put, you know, a roof over our head. Things that I wanted, made sure I never missed out on something. And as a young person, you know, you start looking at that, and I was like, no, I need to help. I need to help.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I left school and then 2 weeks of college, the deal that my mum gave me was she picked my high school.
Right.
She goes, I'll pick your high school, and then you come out with your GCSEs, and then you can decide whether you want to go on. She picked an all boys school.
Right.
Right.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, so she picked an all boys school. You know, I came out with my GCSEs, and I did give it a go. But seeing my mum struggle, 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day, you know, continuously working, something switched in me. And I was like, no, I need to go out and support. And that's when I got my first job in a pizza parlor.
Yeah.
Started to work weekends, weekdays. I started to get into the club scene, DJing, music.
Okay. How did you go from pizza to music?
So at a young age, a lot of my dad's side of the family, my cousins and that, they were all in the DJ scene, and
right.
and it's funny when I mentioned there's some memories that you have that you thought you've forgotten, but they're still there. And I remember before my mum and dad split, my dad was a big fan of LPs, vinyls.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, they used to sit at home when he used to have his friends around, playing all these different types of music, you know, your dub, your bhangra, your 80s music. And my cousin at the time was a DJ. So I started to get influenced by music quite at an early age. And then it just carried me.
Yeah.
Since then, you know, some people would go to, you know, for a run to sort your mind out if you got issues on you. I would listen to music.
Yeah.
You know, then I started to pick up on certain artists that I could relate to, you know, hearing certain songs and knowing that I was in that background. Well, I was part of that, should I say. And then from there, I remember I was 14, and my mum goes to me, what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, turntables. I need some turntables. And my mum was very anti-DJ. She was like, no. Okay. You're not going to be a DJ. And I was like, no, I promise you, it's just a hobby. It's not a full-time career. Nope. You know, back then, my mum knew the late nights because she had experienced it with some of my cousins. And she was like, nope. Finally, she gave in. Bought me my first pair of turntables at 14. And I was just in my room, you know, constantly with all these vinyls, going out and buying vinyls from HMV.
Yeah, HMV.
You know, these singles, and making a record collection and practicing, getting told off. Your music's too loud. What are you doing? And then from there, it just went into the circle that I was with in high school. There was a few promoters back then that picked up on me, and I started to be great relationships with them. Probably looking for a father figure because they're a lot older than me.
Right.
And gave the opportunity to play at clubs, started to promote originally with them, you know, just selling tickets here and there, being a ticket agent, and then becoming part of a promotion team. And then from there, I was given the opportunity to play in one of the clubs. And from there, just
Do you remember it your first time? Were you nervous? Were you excited? What was going on in your head?
My first ever club, I don't know if I should say this, my first ever club was a club called Zenith.
Oh yeah.
In Park Royal. It was on a Friday night, and I was 16. I was doing a warm-up set, and you know, Zenith is massive. It holds about 500, 600, 700 people. And yeah, I remember it. It was something that got me hooked straight away. Sure. And then I just fell in love with it from there. And then it was just every Friday nights I was out, every Saturday nights I was out. Mum, you know, she used to hear me coming home at like 4 or 5 in the morning, just as she's getting up to leave to go to work.
Right.
So she used to, you know, what time do you call this? I told you this is not what I wanted for you. And as a single parent, you know, you are looked at very closely.
Sure.
Because in the Punjabi community, if that child grows up on the wrong side of the tracks, the most go-to thing is, see, because his dad wasn't in his life. So for my mum, it was a big thing. But I still held the job.
Yeah.
You know, I was working at the pizza place.
Yeah. So you didn't just give that all up.
No.
Just to like, fulfill your own sort of happiness.
No, I kept it as a hobby.
The responsibility. Yeah.
I kept it as a hobby. And I promised my mum that it'll always be a hobby for me. It wasn't my day job. I was moving around from a lot of jobs like you do. From there, I went to a company called Focus, which is like a DIY company.
Oh yeah, I remember Focus. Yeah.
And then something clicked in me. It was like, right, you know what? I can't go through life job to job and not have a career. I was still doing music on the side, still DJing, but it wasn't enough for me. I needed to bring more money home. And what I mean by that is I'm not ashamed to admit, there was times when my mum would wonder or worry, where's the next meal coming from? Sandwiches is a big thing I laugh back at now. As a young age, sometimes all you'd have for dinner was sandwiches, and seeing my mum struggle, it gave me the energy and the drive to do more. Part of me started to regret that I didn't go university, because I saw my friends go university, and then leading up to a job that was great, office based, the 9 to 5, working in the city, parents being proud. And as much as my mum never, whatever job I did, my mum was proud of me, of the man I was. And then the first opportunity was given was a call center in Chiswick. I went in as a customer service agent.
Not trying to stay within Indian stereotypes or anything, right?
No. Went in straight as a call center customer service agent in Chiswick it was. And started to feel got an atmosphere for an office. Worked my way up to call center manager. And then from there, typical Indian, I moved from Chiswick straight to the airport.
Right.
And my big break was working at the airport.
Okay.
I was young. I was in my I was about 19, 20.
Okay, yeah.
I started off for a car rental company as a night agent. And at that age, cars was a thing for me. I loved cars. And then I was doing shift work, 4 on, 4 off. My manager at the time saw something in me, and then gave me an opportunity for a bit more responsibility. As much as, higher up the chain, there was he's still young. It's too much for him. I was then given an opportunity to become a night manager, manage a team of 4. And then it just spiraled from there, because I got the urge to do better. I was like, I don't need a degree.
Yeah,
I can do this. And then from there, I went from a night manager to a day manager to then opening up car rental in Terminal 5. Youngest manager. I was at the airport for 10 years. And then opportunities started to come to me, The phone was ringing, people phoning me up saying, oh, we've seen your CV. Are you looking for a new career? We want to see, we can offer you this. And then I went always stayed around the car van industry.
Right.
I moved on from rentals to leasing. And it was just continuously making sure I was bringing enough money home just to support. My mum was very proud of me, knowing that I'd just come from GCSEs, not an A-level, not a degree or anything, but from where I'd gone to, I could see she was proud of me. And then at an early age, my mum felt ill. Diabetes kicked in, she's felt ill. And then one morning I woke up, mum's, lying on the floor, and I've called an ambulance. They've turned up. Mum's gone into a hospital. We're thinking it's just something minor. And then say to my mum, everything will be all right. It'll be all right. Don't worry. And then they done all the tests that they had to do. Kept her in overnight. And I remember the next morning going to see her, and she was like, I think it's just an infection. I had a kidney infection. But you know what, Sonny? This woman keeps walking around like, are you okay? And she's from Macmillan. And I'm like, what? She's like, it's from Macmillan.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, she's just probably doing the rounds. And then the doctor, the consultant come in, and I remember clearly that we're sitting there. I'm sitting on the side. My mum was there. She goes, oh, have I got a kidney infection? And they go, no, Miss Call. We have found stage 1 cancer. What burst in your, what you believed was your stomach, but it was in your ovary. Your ovary had actually burst. And we've done the tests, and it's come back as stage 1 cancer. I remember my mum's face. She looked at me. I looked at her, and I was like, "No, this can't happen." My mum was shocked, but she kept a very brave face.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Oh, right, okay, no problems." Doctor went. Mum looked at me. She said, "Everything's going to be fine." Considering she's lying in bed, in a hospital bed, and I'm sitting at the side, but she still turned around and looked at me and goes, "You know, everything's going to be fine. Fine. Oh, you need to go to work."
Wow.
And I remember coming out of the hospital, making a phone call to my cousin, my mum's nephew, saying to them like, this was happened. And once again, another taboo, you know, oh, is it cancer though? Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
And
nothing. It was just me. You know, my mum put a plan. They put a plan together for my mum. Done what they had to do, and then put her on chemotherapy. And that was the moment when I made sure that whatever I do, my mum's not going back to work. I will do everything in my power I can do to make sure my mum lives a good life, because she's done enough. It's my turn now.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 22.
Okay, so quite young, very young.
Very young.
Yeah.
And from then, you know, picking my mum up from chemotherapy, sitting with my mum when she had chemo. I'm on my own. There is no one. I'm still a boy. I'm still young. You know, I've got friends that at that time were going around late nights, you know, partying, enjoying life. But me, I'm working late nights, coming home, looking after my mum, helping her through chemo, making sure she survives. My mum was a fighter. There was nothing that was thrown at my mum that she couldn't deal with. She done her round of chemo, and I remember, you know, one of the side effects is you lose your hair,
which is a huge deal, especially for women,
and
especially from a woman from the Asian community as well. You know,
my mum. I remember one morning my mum woke up, her hair was thinning. She looked in the mirror and she was like, turns around, she goes to me, "I'm not gonna let this chemo take my hair." I'm like, "Right, mum, shave my head for me. I will decide when I want to be bald." Once again, as a kid, you know, I was like, "Are you sure, mum?" Like, you know, it's not going to be that bad. I'd done it, shaved my mum's, you know, cut all her hair off. And then, you know, she looked in the mirror and she was like, "I decide when things go, when things don't. Don't let the universe, or whatever you want to call it, decide."
Let me pause there for a second, because I just love the courage that takes for her to sit there and go, I'm not going to let this control me, and I'm going to be, you know, responding to whatever comes. I'm actually going to take things into my own hands and smile back and say, right, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it, which is a beautiful way to respond, I think.
And that's how my mum was, you know. After that, she finished the chemotherapy. She had one course of radiotherapy, and then after that, it was, you know, she was under observation for 5 years, and we knew one of the side effects was of the chemotherapy was that it attacks your kidney. We were like, yeah, we know that, it's fine. And I made sure my mum never went back to work after that. I was at the airport. continue to work, look after my mum, and roles had reversed now. It had gone from her giving me everything.
Yeah.
It was me making sure my mum had everything and she never had to work. Just me and my mum once again. No one else.
Yeah.
No families around.
So the Asian community are really well known for, food, providing food, coming alongside people, things like that. You didn't experience any of that once you got the news, or?
Not at all, no. I was considered as the black sheep of the family. Reason being is because I was seen in different cars.
Right.
I was seen out DJing. So the family had made already assumption of me that, he's in different cars. How's he affording that? He must be doing something wrong. He's out late at night. He's not looking after his mum. My mum knew exactly where I was, what I was doing, and what time.
Yeah.
The different cars was a perks working in a car rental.
Yeah, sure.
It was a company car. And it's funny how Asians can assume the wrong. So it was, they knew my mum had it, and they knew my mum was fighting cancer. But it was, she'd be fine. It's a taboo. If you don't talk about it, it's not going to affect us. So it was just me and my mum, and I probably had a handful of friends that were more family to me than actual blood.
Yeah.
One of them still with me today, and the rest fizzle out.
You can shout your friend out if you want.
Cux, Cux has been my boy from day one, and he's seen some of the struggles that I've gone through. He's been there really at an early age, and it was probably those kind of moments, that he was that brother I never had.
Yeah, sure.
And we've done a lot of things together. Went out, he came to my events with me. He used to chill with mum, and it was like mum had a second child, which was him. And then, it was just the circle that I had. Looking back on it now, all I was trying to do was find a father figure. That's the truth.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
And, my mum, after her cancer, her health went down quite a bit. I remember the 5th year we went for a final blood test regarding the cancer, and they'd come back and finally given her the all clear. And seeing my mum go through that, I was like, wow, a Punjabi woman, on her own, fighting the arguments, made a conscious decision on Christmas Day, enough's enough, to pick me up, take me, and then no family around her. But she's overcome this.
Yeah. And just to throw some stuff, because it's easy to say in a sentence, right? This is your life, right? It's easy to say in a sentence, but for her to even make that decision, from hearing about what she was like, she wouldn't be, okay, I'm just going to go. She'd be thinking about you. She'd be thinking about your future. She'd be thinking about you without a dad. She'd be thinking about, what this would mean in the Punjabi community, what this would mean to her family and things like that, which goes to show when people make these difficult decisions, it's not on a whim just because I'll be happier. It's because it's the best of a terrible situation,
And it's having the courage to do that as a woman, it still goes on.
Yeah.
There's probably women out there that probably live in a tough home environment, but scared to make a decision. What does life look like with just me and my children?
Yeah.
What are the family going to say? And some probably have tested the waters, but the common knowledge, the common response back from family is these things happen, go back. You can't do that.
Yeah. One of my really best friends, also a Punjabi community like us, she was in a relationship where she was getting beaten up by her husband. And So she went back to her family, and they came, the immediate family came alongside her, thankfully. But a few of the extended family were like, "Yeah, these things happen. What are you complaining about? This is what happens," And it's like, these things are not supposed to happen.
No.
And people don't talk about it. People don't bring it to light, so it stays in the darkness.
Yeah. For the way I grew up and the way I had to grow up quite quick, it was installed in me. I was part of that. My thing right now is you're never too old to learn. Yeah.
I agree.
I sit here and we'll talk about the stigmas that are attached to men in the Punjabi community and women. I was one of them. I grew up, I can't show emotion. I can't cry because that makes you weak.
Yeah.
You can't talk about it. You got to be strong. And that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
It was a constant thing of if something was going wrong, I can't talk about it. If I was scared, can't talk about it. You can't be scared. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Being scared is for losers, right?
Yeah.
That was the kind of
and
thing.
that was the common thing. And that's how I went out through life. You can't do this. And I used to have people in front of me, like, guys, or crying. What are we crying about? Man up.
Yeah.
That's the word that was always attached.
Yeah.
Man up.
Man up. Yeah.
Banda manja.
Exactly.
That. And I was that person. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. Then mum, like I said, mum's health went downhill. She got the all clear, which is great. My mum was a fighter. And then about 6 months after she got the all clear, we found out that sod's law, the chemo had attacked her kidneys, and her kidney functions started to deteriorate.
Right.
Which would cause to be put on dialysis eventually.
Right.
So my mum's trying to, once again, brush it off. I'm going to fight this. But now I'm at that age where I can look up things. And I'm sitting there thinking the only way this is going to be stopped or she can live a normal life is she had a transplant. Nothing's very simple. The best thing is for it to come from a family member. Now, she fighted it. They put her on the medication. They made it to the last stages where they're like, right now, Miss Cole, you need to go on dialysis. Your kidney functions are too low. They are failed. We can't pump you with enough medicine now. And she was like, right. So that was a change, because from drinking what you want to eating what you want, you're now restricted. So then she went on to dialysis.
Right.
At that time, she had her younger brother had come back into her life.
Okay.
So my mama, and he was on dialysis himself.
Oh, right.
So when she communicated and they reached out, my mum was at that stage where she wasn't on dialysis, but it was going to end there. But she was seeing her brother on dialysis. So they got quite close.
Yeah.
And
it was a bonding experience, right? A shared experience for them.
It was a brother and sister thing, which I will never understand because I'm the only child. And it was, then she started to fight for her brother. She was like, nah, I'm going to fight this. Nah, Billy, you have to go to dialysis, because he was the opposite. He was like, nah, I ain't going to dialysis. I can't be bothered. And he was a bit of a wild child himself.
Right.
But he done it.
Okay.
He continued. Mum went with him. And I'm sitting here watching all of this thinking, she knows eventually she's going to be on dialysis, but she's sitting next to her brother watching it. Mum then got put on dialysis, and then B passed away. Her brother passed away.
Younger brother?
Her younger brother,
wow.
Yeah. And he had a lot of medical issues with himself, and he passed away. My concern now was my mum's going to give up. She continued to go dialysis. She was the opposite. She was attending all her dialysis appointments 3 times a week. She was watching what she'd eat, watch what fluids she would take. And in my eyes, I'm thinking now, this is going to kill my mum
Mm.
because it killed my mama.
Yeah, you seen it. You were there, right?
I've been there.
Yeah.
This is not going to end well.
Mm.
So I'm now worried. I'm thinking, right, what do I do?
And how old are we talking now? You must, what, in 30?
I
About 5,
was,
6 years later?
About 35, 36.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Trying to get my age out.
yeah.
Yeah, I was, it was later on in life.
So a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
And it was hard to see my mum on dialysis, watching the pain that a dialysis patient goes through.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. Where I'm having a full glass of water, my mum's having half a cup of jar.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch your fluid intakes. Once again, no one around me. Me to deal with it.
Yeah.
And it was just a constant having to stay strong. Can't cry, can't show emotion. More like I had become my mum's carer. It was me.
Mm-hmm.
No one was really around to support me. But I'm still driving. I'm still working. I'm still bringing that paycheck home. I'm still giving my mum a good life. In my eyes, I was thinking, when's enough is enough? Like, why do I, as a child, got to witness all of this?
Yeah.
I lost my dad in 2015.
Mm-hmm. Were you in touch with him in that time?
So there wasn't a relationship with me and my dad at all. It was me and my mum. And as a father or a parent, should I say, I suppose it was more like, okay, you'd think my marriage hasn't worked out, but I've got a child.
I've got a son, yeah.
So I still need to be there for my child.
Absolutely.
It wasn't that. It was whatever my dad could do was aimed at my mum. So it was, there wasn't a relationship. My dad continued to do what he done. And I remember one morning, 2015, October, I woke up. My mum's in the living room. I've gotten up. I looked at my phone and I've got a text message. Let me rephrase that. Facebook message. Hi, Sonny. Blah, blah, blah. Your dad passed away this morning. I didn't know my dad was ill. Didn't know what he was fighting. I didn't know anything. Come into the room. Told my mum. Mum's like, what? I was like, this is the message I've got. I showed her the message. So she's made a phone call now. So she's phoned up my dad's older brother. He goes, yeah. So I'm like, so my mum's like, did no one want to? And then I had a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did my dad want to see me? Why didn't you want to see me? What I'd done so bad. But once again, you can't talk about these things because if you start talking about them, you're weak.
You're showing weakness here. You're showing neediness. You're showing like, I want to attach to this person. Yeah.
So I'd seen that. I'd seen my mum battle cancer, fight through that. I've seen my dad pass away. I had a lot of unanswered questions. I live with the regret now. I then saw my mama pass away, who was quite close to me, on dialysis. But now my mum's on dialysis. So what does that look for me now?
Yeah, sure.
I was then blessed, my mum was going through her dialysis. I didn't have no issues. It wasn't one of those days where she'd wake up in the morning and say, no, I'm not going dialysis. She done it. She drove herself. She drove back herself. And then, you know what? A lockdown hit. While my mum was on dialysis, I was at work for 8.5 hours. Yeah. Lockdown hit. And then when lockdown hit, I got to see what my mum would go through on dialysis because I'm at home.
Yeah.
I'm watching her struggle. I'm watching her blood pressure drop, her legs hurting. And that played a big, it hit me quite hard thinking, wow, not only is she going dialysis, but this is the bit that I don't get to see.
Yeah, because it's out of mind, right? It's out of sight.
Out of sight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, and it started to hit me deeper and deeper, but I would never change lockdown because I got to spend time with my mum.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more than I did before. I then was blessed. I met my wife. It was a conversation we started during lockdown.
Right. Was it an app or was it?
She slid into my DMs.
Oh,
no, I'm joking. She'll kill me for it. I reached out. We started to communicate. And with nothing, there was nothing attached to it.
Right.
It was just a simple conversation. I was the one adventuring out during lockdown. Going to McDonald's when it first opened and sending her photos, whatever, and the communication started like that. And then it grew. It grew into something beautiful.
Yeah.
We met during lockdown here. We come out the other end, and we went out, started to date each other, and it was nice for someone to sit there and so tell me about yourself. And I'm an open book. I don't hide anything. So I told her everything. This is what mum is. Mum's ill. This, and she was like, "Wow, you've had to grow up quick." And I'm like, "Yeah, your mum sounds like a strong woman." And I was like, "Yeah," and she had come from a background where she had to be strong.
Right.
She had to be strong,
so she could see it in you because she's already experienced some
and
stuff.
It kind of changed me as an individual because I thought, you know what, good things can happen to me. I can have a woman that I want. That I'm blessed. And then it came to the point where as time got on, she met my mum.
Right.
My mum. At the start, my mum was my mum. She was,
who is this person?
Who is this person? Who's this other woman in your life? But they got on like a house on fire, and it was nice to see. I knew she was the one for me. We got married. I got married last year, September.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. We've just got married, thinking right now my life's going to change. I've met the woman I want.
Yeah.
I've got 2 beautiful children. I'm like, yeah, wicked. And then February this year, I lost my mum. So it was challenging times. We're still newly married.
Sure.
Still trying to get to know each other. I lost my mum 25th of February. Woke up one morning. My mum was a very stubborn woman. My wife, she was very, I'm not going to marry your son till you move in with me. Yeah, I want you to live with me.
Wow.
I kept saying to my wife, look, she's stubborn. She's an independent woman. She ain't going to do it. So her and my mom battling back and forward in a good way, and then it got to the point, finally she agreed, and she was like, yeah, okay, I think I need to. And then, my wife started to work on, we were making plans, and come February, so when my mom was staying at her place, I was only down the road, and her dialysis days, I used to stay at hers. And take her to dialysis because she was now at the point where she couldn't drive.
Right.
Yeah. And it was hard to try and tell such an independent woman, no, you can't drive, man. When you come out of dialysis, you're like, it's like you had a heavy night. And that's the best way I can describe it. So then she agreed, okay, you will take me. So I used to take her, and I remember the 24th of February was a Friday. 25th. So the Saturday was a dialysis day. The night before, I've never been a spiritual person.
Okay.
I never believed in that. The night before, my mum's eating habits were very unusual. She was never hungry. She would never eat.
Mm-hmm.
And the night before we went out, I got some food in and she's laughing, she's joking with me. We had a great, we munched. She had a good meal, but watching TV. And then she was she was just getting ready to go to bed because she had to get up the next morning for dialysis. But before she went to bed, she goes to me, I need you to do me a favor. And I was like, what's that, Mum? Just stay calm. Very out of character.
Mm.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Just stay calm. Whatever happens in life, just stay calm. Well, all right. Anyway, go to bed, Mum. She's gone to bed. I've gone to bed. Spoke to my wife on the phone. Got to see, woke up the next morning. She normally would be up at like 6, wake me up 7 o'clock. And we had a dog. I've woken up thinking, oh, I've been late. She's jumped in the car. She's gone.
Mm.
So I'm shouting for my mum. Didn't hear anything back. Got out of bed in a frenzy. I can hear the dog crying, just screaming. And I'm like, and as I got into my mum's room, he's on the bed next to my mum, just yowling. I looked at my mum and felt like she was cold. And I ain't gonna lie to you, it was like the ground had ripped me up. I remember phoning my wife in hysterics. She's rushed, I'm trying to wake my mum. And then I phone her for an ambulance like you do, and I'm like, the ambulance has turned up. And I'm begging and pleading to him, like, nah, do you know what? She passed away in her sleep. But if if it helps, she didn't go through any pain. And I'm now sitting there looking, thinking, what the hell?
Yeah.
This is a bad dream.
Mm.
Bad dream. And I'm like, nah, this can't happen. I remember everything starts flashing back. My mum fighted this, she fighted that. Did I do anything wrong the night before? Did she have this medicine? You start
questioning everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, it's the walls are starting to cave in on me. All of a sudden, everyone's turning up. My friends, my wife's friends, and it's like the walls are caving in, and I had to get out.
Mm.
I remember jumping in the car, and I've just gone.
Just you.
Just me.
Yeah.
I've gone, I've parked up. I'm sitting there thinking, what have I done wrong? What's happened? And it was that pain, like, I've thought I'd experienced everything in life that God had thrown at me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd come fighting at the other end. This was a different type of pain that I felt like I'd been wounded.
Mm.
And I still feel it. Coming back to the house, they've taken my mum. My wife's there, her best friend, she's there. My mates are turned up. And now it's, okay, I'm just cold. I don't know what to say, what to expect. My wife, bless her, she's newly married. Now it's like, what am I going to do?
Mm.
Because she had known anyone that knew me. My mum was a big part of my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sitting there thinking, this can't be happening. I'm going to wake up. Thinking it's all a dream. People are turning up, trying to get my mum. Where's my mum gone?
Mm-hmm.
Where she, life never sets you up for this kind. No matter what age you are, you cannot prepare for it.
Mm.
and the things that go along with it, she had got attached to 2 beautiful children that I got.
Mm.
She put up a relationship. Now I got to explain to them.
Mm.
They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there once again, quiet, can't show emotion. It's going to make me weak. I've got people that depend on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, do you know what? This is a bad dream. We're going to wake up for it. My wife's taken over everything. She's now, doing the things that I should be doing. Making the phone calls. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are in India.
Right.
They had just got there, so they had to turn back around and come back.
Wow.
And obviously for her now, she needs someone there.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there, like, for me, you couldn't get 2 sentences out of me.
Mm.
I was just so stone cold.
Mm. And Sonny, I just want to say for anyone listening that's this year. We're recording this in November.
Yeah.
And this is this February.
This February. And I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah,
I'm still dealing with it, It was, my wife, she's making the phone calls. My mother-in-law, father-in-law turned around, came back straight away. And they were shocked. They're like, hold on for a minute. We had just seen Christmas with her.
Mm-hmm.
We had just been together before they went. My mum was on a high.
Mm.
She was on a high. And what the hell? Then my wife, she's remembering her own conversations.
Yeah.
With my mum.
They got on so well as
well.
Yeah,
so she's then started to question it. She's like, hold on for a minute. On Thursday, she had said to my wife, you got his galgi, innit?
Mm.
She's like, yeah, mum. No, don't ask for it. When I'm not here, then fair namikwai asking where it is, because I'm not going to be here. She's like, yeah, relax, I got it.
Mm.
But my mum was very adamant that she wanted to make sure she had got it.
Mm.
And so she's questioning her own things. We're newly married, we're still in that honeymoon period. We still are in that honeymoon period. And this has happened now, and I'm trying to process what's happening in front of me. My wife's now trying to process, I've just got married. I met my mother-in-law. She's not there. My son, her son now is left to me.
Mm.
My mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they're battling their own. She's left him to us.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm trying to process everything.
Yeah, of course.
And you've gone, we made the calls. We had to move mum, and we moved her to the mortuary. And then we had to go to, and I remember walking in to a funeral director's place, and we sitting there, and it's like you're going shopping.
Mm.
I was good for nothing. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't.
Mm.
My wife, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my children, they drove it.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sitting there, and they're like, what coffin do you want? And you look at all of these things, and you're like, this ain't real, man.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? But it's things that have to be done.
Mm.
She's gone into autopilot. We need to do this, we need to do that. Me, I'm sitting there like, yeah, it's a bad dream. I'm going to wake up. Because once again, you are installed in yourself. And when I say I'm part of this, I can't cry, I can't talk, I can't show emotion because it makes me weak. And I'm trying to battle that, but not realizing what I'm doing is I'm hurting those close to me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You're jeopardizing relationships.
Mm-hmm. You build a fortress around yourself, right, to protect yourself. But the irony is that you're not letting things in, and you're not letting things out. So you can't process,
So where you're thinking you're dealing with it, You're not. You're harming things. And that's only recently come to light. You know, we went through the whole process. You know, I've got married in September. You know, our wedding was the best day of my life. We had close family, friends. I had no one from my side. You know, didn't want them. My mum didn't want them. On my wedding day, my mum's have a shot of tequila, have this, you know, forcing. You know, she was on a high. We couldn't process what was going on.
Yeah, super proud as well. You know, 'cause you've been her everything like for all these years. Now you're getting married, which is in the Asian community as well. It's a massive achievement, isn't it? It's a tick box for any parent to say, I've fulfilled my purpose. You know.
Yeah, and it was, you know, just seeing her happy, and considering this is a woman that's battled cancer. She's on dialysis, but she's walking around so high. I'm processing that. My wife's processing that. In the meantime, we're trying to plan a funeral.
Yeah.
How does that work? We had we planned the funeral. You know, like I said, my wife was on autopilot. She had to take over. She done everything. I'm sitting here trying to process this, and even still now thinking it's a bad dream. I'm gonna wake up. This is a bad dream. I'm gonna wake up. Then it starts settling in when you get that date.
Yeah.
And you're like, right, it's gonna be a hard day. I've got everyone looking at us. What does it look like? You know, and then it sets me back to my dad's funeral. And I'm like, okay, you go and see, you know, there's certain traditions you got to do. My wife done them. Family all of a sudden want to make a phone call.
The ones that have disappeared for decades. Yeah.
I didn't want to make no phone calls when my mum passed away. But I remember my wife standing next to me and she's like, no, you have to make these phone calls. I don't want no bad word said about my mum. That she didn't do this, she didn't look at what child she's raised. You got to make these phone calls. And it was a very overwhelming experience. I had a lot of anger in me, and I still have a lot of anger in me.
Understandably, yeah.
But my wife's sitting there grounding me. You know, she's sitting there like, no, what are you going to get out of it? Yeah, and I'm still sitting there with my mind thinking, do you know what? I'm going to wake up, my mum's going to walk through that door, and she's going to say, got you. Because that's the kind of character my mum was.
Yeah.
Then you get that date, and you're like, okay. And, you know, I got to explain to 2 children what's going on. And, you know, they are young age, and trying to explain to them as teenagers, you know, oh, by the way, you're never going to see Granny B again.
And they've obviously gone through some of their own stuff,
you
know, before you guys got married and things like that, you know,
and
you're trying to, you know, balance in terms of giving them bad news, you know.
Exactly. And you know, my daughter, my older daughter, she took it bad. She had her own connection with my mum. My son, he had his own connection with my mum. So, you know, for them, it's, what have they done? What's my wife done? What's my mother-in-law? What's my father-in-law done? To come into my life and then experience this. And explaining to them, it was hard. But you know what? They set the way, you know, the way they were on the funeral day, strong for kids. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm done. You know, my wife standing next to me. You know, she's done, but she can't stop. One of us got to function, and unfortunately, she's sitting there. She's been functioning. We've come out of that, and now I'm in the process of dealing with grief, but I'm not accepting it. I openly say it. Thinking I'm dealing with it, I'm not, because what you're doing is, you're pushing your loved ones away from you. You're hurting them. I've never been a strong believer in, I didn't, shall I say, about talking or seeing or getting help. It's been February I lost my mum. It's November now, and it's throughout that I've had to celebrate my mum's 60th birthday in March, Mother's Day, my 40th in September, and my 1 year anniversary, and then Diwali. So it's been a constant reminder, and I think I'm dealing with it, or I believed I was dealing with it, you know, turning up every day, waking up, coming home. But then the only person that can get through to me or speak to me is my wife, and that's the truth. Yeah.
I will say, listening to, you know, what your mum's character is like and what your wife's character is like, just got so much respect for both. You mentioned your wife just now, and it sounds like she's come into your life at exactly the right time and been what you've needed, you know. So that's a beautiful thing in terms of, I don't want to like project what I might believe into your life, but you know, when people come into your life for whatever reason, wife, friend, etc., when they're able to walk down that journey with you and see you bleed and say, I'm going to stand with you and I'm going to support you and I'm going to walk this road with you, is a beautiful thing. It's an incredible thing to have, you know, to see that as a blessing.
It is, you know, my mum, she kept me grounded, kept me on the right track. That responsibility falls with my wife. As much as, you know, I'll probably thinking I'm dealing with it, you know, she grounds me, but I don't show it. And this is when it comes down to, you don't realize the people around you that you're hurting because you're thinking you're dealing with it, but you're not. I'm not a big talker. I'm not a believer. This here is something new for me.
Mate, how much courage have you got to be on this today? Honestly, you got to acknowledge that. Like, I'm blown away, honestly.
It's something that needs to be talked about. You know, I don't think we talk about it enough in our community. It's okay. You know, it's okay to talk. You get certain characters on social medias that will talk about it in other communities. And they will sit there and they'll say to you, oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. But in the Punjabi community, no one talks about it. As much as everyone knows me, I'm sitting here and I'm going through it. Yes, I have been that person that never talked about it. I thought I was dealing with it. I'm not. You know, you need to start opening up a bit. You hurt the relationships around you, but it takes a strong person to stand beside you and make you realize. You know, sometimes people don't realize, like, yeah, whatever, carry on through life. I know one of the things you're going to ask me is, what does courage mean to me?
Yeah, that was my next question, actually.
Courage is, to me, seeing two kids turn up on a funeral. If they can do that at a young age, That's courage for me. That's courage for me. My wife, what she does every day, you know, as much as, you know, I'll come home, you know, she could see me hurting, but I'm trying to put a face on. And I'll sit there openly now and I'll say, do you know what? I'm in the process of, you know, going to talk to someone about it.
That's good.
Having it buried up inside you thinking you're helping, it's not. The only thing you're doing is just pushing everyone else away, and that's not fair. It's not fair on people. My wife's a big part of my life. She is the driver for me. And the conversations me and my wife have, you know, she's very brutal in a good way.
Holds you to account in terms of your feelings. Yeah.
Very, very brutal. There's people out there that you call your friends, or are your friends, shall I say, your family, that are scared to say open things. My wife's not one of them. She will say to me if I'm messing up.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, do you know what? If you have gone through life, I'm 40, got married last September at 39. I waited 39 years for the right woman to come in my life. I got married to her and now she's driving me. Because behind any man, you need a good woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's making me see you're not dealing with this and it's okay to talk. And I can't thank her enough. I can't thank my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. I can't even thank my kids enough to drive me, you know, where I'm sitting there thinking, you know what, I'm dealing with this, I'm turning up, I'm coming home, I'm smiling. She sees through all of that. Your loved ones will see through all of that if they spend enough, if they genuinely into you, they will see through it. Yeah. And all you're doing is hurting. Yeah. So you need, in the Punjabi community, I am not weak because you see me cry. I am not weak because I talk about things. And it's taken me 39 years of my life to sit in front of a camera and openly say it's okay to talk. You know?
And if I can add, 39 not very easy years.
Nah, do you know what? If someone had said to me, would you change it? I wouldn't. Because it's made me the man I am today.
Absolutely.
I'm one of those ones, like I said, I'm always learning. You're never afraid. You should never be afraid to say I'm scared. You know?
Yeah. Because people think that courage is not being scared. They think, courage is about never being scared and being able to do like really hard stuff. But actually, courage is the ability to choose to move forward even when you're scared.
Yeah. You know, I've never turned around and openly said I'm scared of anything. I've always thought I was fearless. I'm scared, you know. I said that to my wife this morning. It's the first time you look at you can't go through life when you've had such a dramatic experience thinking out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
You need to accept it and kind of move on with it. I have not accepted it, but I need to move on with it because I'm not going to sit here and continue to hurt the loved ones around me who are doing their own grieving.
So you're saying that's the driving force now for you to know that and say, okay, I'm not accepting it, but I need to take the next step.
You got to, you know. I'm not going to sit here and, like I said, I waited 39 years. And the one woman that's grounded me is in my life. You know, you're willing to change everything for that. You want to accept it. You know, you want to move forward. You know, you want to have good memories. You want to build on it. We're in our honeymoon period. You know, it's been 1 year since I've been like we've been married. A lot's happened in that 1 year.
Yeah.
You know, and it's things like that that drives you. Got to keep moving and talking about.
And it's important to also say that moving forward doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean that you know, say, okay, that was that then, and now my life is like this. It's carrying those parts of you with you and saying, this is how I feel. This is what my mum meant to me. This is what this moment meant to me. This is what this memory was. But just because I'm moving forward doesn't mean I have to let go of all of those things. It's about carrying those things with you because they're a part of who you are, like you said.
Yeah, and you're right. That's the biggest thing. But in my head, talking about it or seeing someone or, you know, whatever sessions you're having, in my head, it was, I'm trying to erase my mum. Yeah, and when you're in that kind of mind frame, you won't talk because you're you think in yourself you're keeping it alive.
Yeah.
But you're not. All you're doing is just hurting yourself and you're hurting your loved ones around you.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you see help and you get help and you don't forget, you learn to deal with it and cope with it and carry those memories with you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm hoping, you know, that I will be at that point where I can look back and I'll be like, you know what, I remember this time, I remember that time, and you know, you will process it in a lot different way, and I'm just ready to talk about my story, about the stuff I've gone through, what I am going through, because bottom line is you are not weak by talking.
No.
It doesn't make you a weak person. It doesn't make you less of a man.
I tell you what's weak, right, is when you're giving it the large and saying, yeah, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm all of that stuff. We've all done it. I'm not judging. Like, I've done it plenty as well. And you're not talking about the real issues. You're not talking about what's going on in the inside. You're not talking about, you know, the truth that's happening to you. Because when you speak the truth, it sets you free, and it actually sets other people free. Because then they start to say, oh yeah, I'm living in this false world where I believe I can't talk, or, you know, my uncle, my auntie, and all this kind of stuff, and something happened or whatever, and I don't want to talk about it because I want to show that I'm all good. So if everyone else is holding up these, you know, these smoke screens, pretending that life is good, none of us really connect with each other because we don't know what's going on.
And like you said, and I was guilty of that. I am guilty of that. You know, I'm very quick to put a mask on. I'm good. I'm cool. And I probably helped. I was that guy that used to put my feelings aside of what I was going through to support and help others. But now it's time to work on myself. You know, you can't go through life with a smoke screen up or a mask on. You know, I've done it too long. I've done it to the point where, you know, I used to do it good. I used to do it really good, you know. No one would know what was hurting me inside. And then bang, my wife comes along and she's like, yeah, I can see straight for you.
Yeah, you're not getting away with it anymore. Yeah. I want to help you.
I can see straight for you.
Yeah.
Don't try and come with that persona that you're okay. A lot of people will sit there and be like, oh, Sonny's like this, Sonny's like that. Ask my wife, she's like, he's a big teddy bear. Because she knows me.
Yeah.
And if someone that's invested that time into you and you thinking you can try and still put something up and say you're okay, all you're doing is hurting that person. And now it's the time for me to, like, you know what, understand and move on forward and how to deal with grief.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about what you're saying is you're not sitting here saying, I've dealt with it, this is how you do it, here's my tips, here's my 10-step strategy, etc. You're saying, I haven't accepted it and I know I need to, and I'm not sure what that looks like, but I'm gonna go into the wilderness and figure it out, you know.
And that's the best way I can describe it to you is talking about it is a good start. And then moving forward and doing something about it is baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
But if I can say anything or give any sort of advice is, if you think by staying quiet, waking up every morning, turning up, coming home, put a smile on your face, you're dealing with it. From my experience right now, you're hurting the closest around you and you don't realize. Because you're trying to process and thinking, I'm turning up, I'm doing great, because I'm doing great. Ask me, I'm doing great, but I'm not. Because how am I doing great if I've not accepted it?
Yeah.
You know, taking my mum's not here, and then understanding or thinking, oh, do you know, I'm going to wake up one morning, it's going to be all a bad dream, and my mum's going to walk in. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. The more you talk about it, the better it is.
Yeah.
And I could sit here in front of you and I'll say I'm that guy that's doing what they're doing, what you're doing. I'm doing it, but I'm saying enough's enough. Talk about it. You know,
I could see your mother's spirit in you as well. You know, she said enough's enough back on that Christmas day, and here you are many years later going, you know what, enough's enough in the Asian community. Men, you need to step up and you need to actually have some courage and talk and get things out there.
Have the courage and talk. You know, don't think it's going to make you weak. I'm not a weak person.
No,
you know, it takes guts to sit here and talk. You know, driving to the studio today, you know, I was anxious. What are people going to think? Are they going to think I'm weak? Listen, I'm just saying what I experienced. And if it helps one person that sits here, watches this and says, you know what, he's right, then I've done something.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's someone listening today, young man, let's say, I mean, women, men, it's all good, right? But I'm just saying, based on what we're talking about, and funnily enough, it is International Men's Day today as well. So men's mental health awareness is today, which is a big thing. There's massive campaigns internationally going out. So I don't know if this is a beautiful coincidence that we're sitting here on this day when we were trying to figure out dates, you know, the last 6 months. But if someone is listening, you know, whatever age, and they can't figure out, like, what, it might not be the same scenario, it might be something completely different. What would you say to them, especially Punjabi community? What would you say to them? What would be your advice to them if they're dealing with some really heavy stuff and they don't know what to do?
The best advice I can give you is, you've probably got that one person that's standing shoulder to shoulder with you. Talk to them. Talk to them.
Yeah.
Because look around you and realize there's someone standing next to you that you don't realize is holding you up and keeping you going. But if you don't talk, you're just causing a reef between you and that person that loves you. And you're hurting them. Talk, you know, and someone could sit here and watch and say, oh, but you didn't talk. No, I didn't. But I'm talking now.
You're talking now,
I'm talking now, and I'm telling you, talking is okay. Speak to that person, tell them how you're feeling. Don't sit there and say, oh, I'm okay, when you're not.
Yeah, it's good. Find that safe person. And say, hey, I'm not okay. Hold me accountable. Let me do something with my life. Help me, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the moment you say that, you know, it's a good starting. It's a good starting to say, I need help. I need to talk. I need to process. What I've gone through is probably what's made me the person I am today. There's nothing that, you know, my mom didn't do for me. She's done everything for me. I got married late, but I waited because I was waiting for the right person to come along. That right person has come along.
Sounds like you found a treasure.
And you know, I can't thank my wife enough. She's my support. She's my backbone at the moment. And my kids, they make sure they don't even probably realize, but they give me that energy to turn up, and give me the drive, because seeing what they went through at their age on my mum's funeral, if they can do it, I gotta do it, because I've put them in that situation, but they've turned up. And I will sit here and I'll openly say, if anyone wanted to talk.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it's taken me this long to realize.
It's taking you this long. Sonny, I had a whole bunch of other questions to ask you, but I think we've covered so much, and I think it's been really an incredible conversation, and I'm humbled that you have opened up so much to me. I really, really appreciate it. But before you go, I would like to just touch on the lighter side a little bit, get to know the people who are listening, get to know some of your likes, dislikes, things like that. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
What's Sonny's favorite cuisine? What kind of food type that do you like?
I'm a mixed grill man.
You're a mixed grill man, so that's Indian food, right?
Yep.
It's Punjabi food, right?
Yep.
North India. Are you an iPhone, Android kind of guy?
It's not even a question to ask. I'm an iPhone man.
He's the man. See, Sonny's got credibility. You like your cars, you said earlier on.
Yeah.
Lambo, Ferrari.
Lambo,
yes. Sonny has got credibility. We done food, but what's your go-to comfort food? So, like, say you just wanted something there and then, what would be your usual go-to?
Rice.
Rice, interesting. Okay, I have actually seen you eat rice. Yes. Preferred clothing choices. What do you normally rock up in?
I'm a tracksuit hoodie kind of guy.
Tracksuit hoodie, nice and comfortable. Like it. Favorite place?
Home.
Home
is my favorite place.
Home is where the heart is.
Yeah. Home it's my safe spot. I'm surrounded by love. Home is where I can just be me.
Cats, dogs?
Dog.
Yeah. Oh, you had a dog, didn't you?
And rabbit now.
And a rabbit. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I used to have a rabbit as well. Someone stole my rabbit out of my back garden. How lame is that?
What did you do?
I'm coming after you.
You had a rabbit and it was in the back garden?
Well, we had a rabbit in a rabbit hutch.
Okay.
Someone came into our garden and stole the rabbit. How sick is that?
I was never a rabbit person.
I thought you were going to admit to, oh, well, years ago, I stole a rabbit out of this guy's garden.
It's the one that's sitting at home now. I'm joking. It's that. Yeah, I'm a dog and a rabbit person.
Okay. All right. Last movie you watched?
Last movie I watched was Harry Potter, and I used to cuss it.
Harry Potter?
Yeah, I was never a Harry Potter man. Let me just put it out there. I was the kind of guy that when people try to talk to me about Harry Potter, I would say, please, what is this bakwas that you are watching? And recently, me and my wife, we put one on, and I'm wrong.
Oh.
I got so...
Did you say you were wrong in front of your wife?
Yes.
Courage, that's courage.
I was
there.
wrong, and we've just finished 4, 5 or whatever they were.
Okay, wow.
Yep. And now I want to go to Harry Potter World.
Yeah, now you want to go Harry Potter
I
World.
want to go Harry Potter World.
I only saw one, and then I phased out. But no, sounds like it's good. Are you watching a TV show at the moment? Anything in particular? Or reading a book?
I'm an old school kind of guy, and I probably watched on repeat. Probably done my wife's head in. I've done my mum's head in, definitely. I will constantly watch Only Fools and Horses.
Only Fools and Horses, great TV show.
It's my go-to.
Brilliant. So this time next year, Rodney.
Yep, this time next year, I'll be in a better place.
There you go. I could talk to you for hours, Sonny, and sometimes, that's not always a good thing. But, you've given us something to think about. You've given a message for people, especially in the Asian community, to especially young men. I mean, you don't have to be young to take on what you said. I think it applies to everyone.
Of course.
Which is really important. If someone was listening today or watching online and they wanted to connect with you, would that be okay?
Yeah.
And if they did, where would they connect with you?
My probably best will be my Instagram. Cass the host. CASDAHOST.
Okay, great. I'll put links in the description as well to that. And your DJ stuff, you still do that now, don't you?
I do. Here and there.
Okay.
I'll probably once a month I'll do it. But yeah, I'm still about. If you see my socials, you'll see some of the up and coming next ones I've got available. Reach out.
Okay, so they can reach out for DJ stuff on the same Instagram as well. Brilliant. Okay, all right. I've got to say goodbye, but there was a couple of things I wanted to say to you. Actually, you've had a long time talking to me. I wanted to say a few things to you. Firstly, thank you for being so vulnerable. It takes a lot of courage, and I really appreciate you coming onto my platform to talk about your life. And there's no money exchanged here. There's nothing. You have no incentive to do this other than it might help someone. So I really, really appreciate that, and I believe it will help someone. I just wanted to say, I've been going through a really tough time in my life, and you've been an absolute source of support for me, especially over these last few months. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. When my head's been down, you've lifted up my chin on a number of occasions. I've seen the way that you look after people. I've seen the way that you connect with people, and you don't do it, always in a obvious way. There's a subtlety to you, I think, and I think you've grown that skill probably from your mum and some other experiences that you had in life. But just today there's a lot that you shared that I didn't even know about you, and I didn't know you went through, and it all starts to make sense of why you are. I mean, when I first met you, I was like, all right, I don't want to mess with this guy, he's going to knock me out, right? Which I still believe you can, right? But I think there's such a softness to you and such a caring heart that's visible, and I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for being that person in my life. And I've only known you, 6-7 months. So, I want to encourage you by saying there's people around you who would have seen that a lot more than me. And that's just about you being you. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
No, thank you for having me.
All right. Okay. Well, if you listen to this and you have something that you'd like to share, please do. You can use comments, you can DM, you can contact Sunny directly on his Instagram. We'd love to hear how it has impacted you as well. And if you're going through stuff, I just want to reiterate what Sunny said. Talk. Find a safe person and talk. And if you don't have a safe person, there are professional places you can go to, therapy and things like that, that will help you get started on that journey. And whatever you're doing, go forward, keep moving forward, and go in courage. See you on the next one. Hey, really hope you got a lot out of that episode. I know I did. I just want to commend Sunny for just being so open and vulnerable with what he's been through. Some of it's still raw, and yet he had the courage to step out. Brothers, it's really important, okay? I know the thoughts that go on. I know that it feels weak and it feels uncomfortable and it feels unnatural, but actually finding that safe person to talk to can make a huge difference like you wouldn't believe. And my encouragement to you is to discern that part, so really be careful who you talk to. Make sure they are a safe person and you feel that they can bring a level of support. And if you don't have anyone like that in your life, then there are helplines that you can call, and there is therapy that you can go down the route of. And believe me, it's worth the investment if you have to invest in that financially. Your mental health is important. I don't want that to be lost or wasted. So if you have listened to this episode and you're not sure if you're going to make that step forward, this is my last plea to you. Take the step. Move forward, because by doing that you're actually shining a light on the issue, you're bringing it to the light, and you're able to bring truth into your life as well. By doing so, you release other people to also do the same as well, and we actually contribute to a healthier society. So thank you for listening today. I really do hope that it has stirred you to take a step forward and to go in courage.